A woman looked across a crowded restaurant, took one glance at the man waiting with a bouquet of flowers, and quietly said, "I'm not your date." What happened next made every person in the room stop eating. Instead of walking away embarrassed, the stranger smiled gently and asked one unexpected question that changed both of their lives forever. If you believe in kindness, forgiveness, hope, and second chances, please take a moment to like this video, leave a comment, share it with someone you care about, and subscribe to our channel. Every story we share reminds our community that one small act of compassion can change a life forever. Gavin Mercer had almost cancelled lunch. After years of building one of the country's fastest-growing architecture firms, success had filled his bank account but emptied his personal life. His younger sister had insisted he finally agree to a blind date, reserving a quiet table at a beautiful restaurant overlooking a peaceful city park. Gavin arrived early carrying a bouquet of white lilies because his mother had always believed flowers showed respect before romance. At nearly the same moment, Maren Ellison hurried through the restaurant doors wearing a simple blue dress. She looked exhausted after spending the morning helping her elderly grandmother attend a medical appointment. She wasn't there for romance. She had agreed to meet an old college friend who wanted advice about opening a small bookstore. Unfortunately, both tables had been reserved under nearly identical names, creating the perfect misunderstanding. When Maren noticed Gavin smiling toward her, she walked over intending to explain the mistake before it became awkward. She softly told him she wasn't his date and apologized for the confusion. Gavin laughed at the coincidence instead of becoming embarrassed. Before she could leave, he politely asked if she would stay until dessert because his actual date had just sent a message canceling at the last minute. He admitted that sitting alone at a table filled with flowers would be far more embarrassing than sharing lunch with a stranger. Something about his honesty made Maren pause. She agreed, making it clear they were simply sharing a meal before returning to their separate lives. The conversation started cautiously but quickly became effortless. Gavin learned that Maren worked as a children's librarian who spent weekends organizing free reading events for families who couldn't afford books. Maren discovered that despite leading a company worth millions, Gavin still repaired old furniture himself because it reminded him of afternoons spent in his grandfather's workshop. Neither tried to impress the other. They spoke about failure more than success, about lonely birthdays, missed opportunities, and dreams they had quietly abandoned. For the first time in years, both felt understood without pretending to be someone else. Just before dessert arrived, an elderly waiter accidentally dropped an entire tray. Plates shattered across the dining room floor. Several guests sighed impatiently while one customer demanded to speak with the manager. The elderly waiter stood frozen, clearly expecting to lose his job. Without hesitation, Gavin knelt to help gather broken dishes while carefully avoiding the sharp pieces. Maren comforted the shaken waiter and assured him accidents happen to everyone. Other diners slowly joined them. Within minutes the mess disappeared, replaced by applause from guests who admired their kindness. The restaurant owner later revealed that the elderly waiter had worked there for 35 years and was planning to retire within weeks. He had feared one mistake would erase decades of loyal service. Gavin quietly paid for every meal affected by the accident without telling anyone. When lunch ended, both assumed they would never meet again. 3 weeks later, Gavin volunteered at a charity event renovating an old neighborhood library scheduled for closure. As he walked inside carrying paint supplies, he froze. Standing in the middle of dozens of smiling children was Maren, reading stories while encouraging volunteers to save the building. Their reunion felt less like coincidence and more like destiny. Over the following months they spent every Saturday working together. Gavin donated construction materials while his employees volunteered their weekends. Maren organized literacy programs, community events, and fundraising campaigns. What began as restoring one library grew into a movement that renovated reading spaces across several neighborhoods. As they worked side by side, they slowly discovered each other's hidden pain. Gavin admitted that after losing both parents within a few years, he buried himself in work because success distracted him from grief. Marin confessed she had once been engaged, but her fiancé ended their relationship after deciding her commitment to caring for her grandmother limited their future. Neither offered easy answers. Instead, they offered something far more valuable: patience. One sunny afternoon, Gavin visited Marin's grandmother carrying fresh flowers from the same garden where the restaurant bought its lilies. The elderly woman smiled warmly before telling him she had not seen Marin laugh so freely in many years. She explained that love wasn't about finding someone perfect but someone who made ordinary days feel meaningful. Those words stayed with Gavin. Several weeks later, the restaurant owner invited both of them to attend the retirement celebration for the elderly waiter whose accident had first revealed their character. The dining room looked almost identical to the afternoon they first met. As dessert arrived, Gavin stood, smiling nervously. He reminded Marin how she had once said she wasn't his date. Then he admitted she had unknowingly become the best part of every day since. Instead of presenting expensive jewelry immediately, he handed her the small menu from their first lunch, carefully framed behind glass. On the back he had written the exact date they met and one simple sentence saying that the greatest plans in life often begin with beautiful mistakes. Tears filled Marin's eyes as she realized that one accidental lunch had rewritten both of their futures. The guests applauded quietly while the retired waiter smiled through tears, saying he had witnessed thousands of meals during his career but had never seen a sweeter beginning. The following spring, Gavin and Marin married in the garden beside the restored community library. Children who had learned to read through Marin's programs filled the front rows carrying wildflowers instead of expensive decorations. Gavin's employees volunteered to build benches, bookshelves, and playground equipment as wedding gifts for the neighborhood. Their marriage became known not because of wealth or grand celebrations, but because they continued spending every weekend serving others together. Every restored library, every donated book, and every child encouraged to dream became a reminder that kindness multiplies when shared. Before leaving the reception, Gavin quietly thanked fate for a cancelled blind date. Marin smiled because she understood that sometimes the person meant to change your life isn't the one you plan to meet, but the stranger who simply asks you to stay until dessert. Before this story ends, leave a meaningful comment and tell us, do you believe life's greatest blessings often begin with unexpected mistakes? If this story touched your heart, please like this video, leave a meaningful comment, share it with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe to our channel so you never miss another emotional journey. Remember, one small act of kindness can become the beginning of someone else's forever.